In the poem Childhood by Markus Natten, when did the speaker's childhood go? How does the poet explore the theme of growing up in the poem Childhood? What role does self-awareness play in the poem? Welcome to my classroom, and today we'll study the poem Childhood written by Markus Natten. After extensive research, I couldn't find much on the poet of childhood. Markus Natten, aged 12, from St. Mary's College, Southampton, Hampshire from United Kingdom, submitted his poem Childhood for Children as Writers, 20th year, winning entries in the W. H. Smith Children's Literary Competition in the year 1979. Now let's read the poem. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography, and therefore could not be? Was that the day? When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine, to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that's hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography, and therefore could not be? Was that the day? The speaker begins by asking a rhetorical question. When did my childhood go? They are reflecting on a significant turning point in their life. They mention two possible instances: the day I ceased to be 11, which indicates the transition from childhood to adolescence, and the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be, suggesting the loss of childhood innocence and the realization that fantastical concepts like heaven and hell cannot be located in the physical world. The speaker is questioning when precisely these changes occurred, marking the end of their carefree childhood. Second stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? The speaker continues to ponder the loss of childhood and asks another rhetorical question. When did my childhood go? This time they discovered adults were not perfect. They talked of love, they preached of love, but their actions were hypocritical. They found out that adults were not perfect or very loving. This realization shattered the idealized view of adults that the speaker held during childhood. Stanza 3. When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine, to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? The speaker asks, when did my childhood go? Now they consider a moment when they discovered the power of their own mind. They realized their thoughts were not mere reflections of others' beliefs, but they gained the ability to think independently. This is an important point. Please underline. This newfound autonomy signifies another step away from the innocent, dependent childhood self. Fourth stanza. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that's hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. The speaker inquires, where did my childhood go? This time they do not focus on a specific moment, but rather emphasize that their childhood has vanished and left only vague traces. They describe it as going to a forgotten place hidden in an infant's face, suggesting that the memories and essence of their childhood are retained in the innocence of young children. However, this place's exact location or nature is unknown, emphasizing the elusiveness and the time-bound phases of our lives, in this case, lost childhood. Now let's shift to the analysis of the poem. Childhood by Markus Natten is a reflective and introspective poem that explores the transition from childhood to adulthood and the loss of innocence that comes with growing up. the poet contemplates the moments when he became aware of the complexities of the world and the realization that things are not as simple as they once seemed during childhood. Now, what are the themes used in the poem Childhood? First, loss of innocence. The poem begins with the poet questioning when exactly his childhood ended. The mention of being 11 suggests a specific age, but is also symbolic of an innocent and carefree childhood. The poem hints at a loss of innocence which might have occurred when the speaker realized that heaven and hell, which might have been presented in a simple geographical sense during childhood, are more abstract and complex concepts in reality. Second, disillusionment with adulthood. The second stanza delves deeper into the speaker's disillusionment with adulthood. The poet acknowledges that adults are not always as loving and as genuine as they claim to be. This realization shattered the speaker's idealized perception of grown-ups during childhood, causing disappointment and loss. Third, discovering individuality. In the third stanza, the poet reflects on a significant turning point when he realizes that his mind is unique and can produce independent thoughts. This marks a shift from the conformity of childhood, where one often accepts the idea of others, to the emergence of individuality and the freedom to think for oneself. Third, loss of childhood's innocent wonder. The final stanza emphasizes the elusive nature of childhood, which now resides in a forgotten place hidden in an infant's face. This is an important line. This suggests that childhood innocence and wonder are lost as one grows older, becoming obscured by the complexities and experiences of adulthood. Now let's study the symbolism used in the poem Childhood by Markus Natten. First, the symbolism of 11. This point is crucial to the poem. The poem begins with the question of when the speaker's childhood ended. The age 11 may not be meant to be taken literally, but could symbolize a time of pre-adolescence when the first signs of growing up and questioning the world emerge. Second, discovery of reality, heaven and hell. The poem reflects on the realization that the world is not as simple and ideal as once thought. The reference to hell and heaven not being found in geography suggests that the notion of good and evil or idealized concepts are more complex than those taught in textbooks. To conclude, Markus Natten's poem Childhood explores the passage from innocence to experience and the gradual realization of life's complexities. The poem uses rhetorical questions and reflections to evoke the reader's own memories of childhood and the transition to adulthood. It captures the universal theme of growing up and the nostalgia of losing carefree innocence. This brings us to the end of the explanation and analysis of the poem Childhood by Markus Natten. To learn more about Class 11 poems, literary devices and detailed explanations, check out the Class 11 Literary Devices playlist on this channel and at www.misroclassroom.com. All the links will be in the description box. Till then, like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.